So in this video, I'm going to go over the 5 reasons as a viewer I stopped watching Twitch on a regular basis. I found out about Twitch through YouTube. On the sidebar, there was some sort of Twitch drama going on. I never even heard of the website. This was about 3 years ago, and for about 2.5 years, I really got involved in it. I probably followed about 200 and something people, and then subscribed to maybe about 10 to 15, and then I had about another 25 or 30 like purchase subscribers where people gift you a subscription. So I was active, and I mainly used it a lot of times to go to bed. So I would use Twitch in a form of sort of sleeping and kind of like radio, like background noise when I was at work. So the Apple iPhone lets you view your watch time, and if like your time you use of an app and all that stuff. So if I was to view the time I used the Twitch app and just viewing it on a desktop in general, it was probably, 50-60 hours a week just watching Twitch. Like I said, that's not consistent like this. That's having it on as background noise and watching it to bed. I was the type of person when I grew up, I kind of needed the TV on to go to sleep. And so when Twitch came out, that became a better thing because TV had those infomercials at night that were really annoying, and sometimes the station would go off air and wouldn't come back on till like 5 in the morning. So, but recently I've only been watching maybe about 2 to 5 hours a week at Twitch. So I went from watching like 40 to 50 hours to like 2. Okay, so we'll get into it right now. The number one reason why I stopped was the new commercial setup. I'm a Amazon Prime member, and that wasn't for all the Twitch things. That's because I do 70% of my shopping that I do. Anything that is not food, I pretty much buy on Amazon. So I'm an Amazon Prime member, and Twitch for a little while, for whatever reason, I don't know if they needed money or something like that. If I was stream browsing, as if you were to flip through channels on a television, I would go through various channels, and every time I clicked on a new channel, it would play an ad. So even if I watched that channel for 30 seconds, or I watched it and the streamer was gone, and I was like, okay, I'm going to move on, because they got out of their seat to use the restroom or something, I would go to the next channel, and I'd have to watch the ad again, and so it just became kind of a pain. So that was one of the big reasons why I had stopped watching. I think they died it down a bit, but there was like every time, so in a 5-minute period, if you go through 10 streamers, you were watching an ad every like 30 seconds. Like again, if it was like a remote kind of TV thing and you're just flipping through channels. Alright, the number 2 reason I watched was I have my set of streamers that I watched. I had my set of followed streamers I watched all the time, but I watched a lot at night, and so a lot of the US ones or whatever were on, and then a lot of the ones in South Korea and Russia were on, but I couldn't understand them. There was a few I kind of browsed just because, they were doing art or something, and it was entertaining. And even though I couldn't understand what they're saying, I was able to follow what they were doing. But there was a lot of sort of bad streamers, copycats, and what I like to say, like purchased viewer streamers. So one of the big secrets with like streaming and stuff like that is you just have to know how to kind of create an environment that doesn't have dead air. You have to know how to be entertaining, be engaging, things like that. There's all these people that run all these sort of things about how to be a successful streamer and these numbers and what games to play and all that stuff. But when you look at a lot of successful ones, there is some that have made it big just on retro games, or some that made it big on top of AAA first-person shooter games, MMO type games, and even like card games. Like some of the big streamers out there that get 10, 20,000 viewers, they play things like Hearthstone and card games. So the key thing is being able to be entertaining and engaging. There was a lot of streamers, even still today, that that purchase viewers. So I'll be doing my stream browsing, and I'll come onto a stream and it just doesn't grab my attention, but yeah, it says it has 200 or 300 people viewing, and you can always tell when someone buys viewers because the chat either won't make sense and won't have anything to do with the game, or there'll be like only 2 or 3 people talking. And if you know anything about Twitch streamers, even if you have 10 viewers, there's a lot of active people talking, and there just wasn't anyone talking. So that was one of the issues. It seemed like as I was flipping through streamers trying to watch things, I'd come across these streamers that just had this look like, and just like weren't engaging, you know. And I was like, how did these people have like 200,000 or 300,000 views? Their mic is messed up, all this sort of stuff. Like everything was way off, and it was just purchased viewers. It was like not finding anything on TV. You're going through all these channels, and supposedly they have all these viewers. You're clicking through them, and just there's nothing on. You're like, oh, I clicked through 500 channels and nothing's on TV. That's what it was like. It was like there's nothing entertaining to watch, and a lot of them were just like buying views. And I just was like, all right, you know, none of this is entertaining. All these people are just purchasing viewers. All right, number 3 reason was a lot of streamers. So Twitch, and if you look at the original people that came onto Twitch, like Soda Poppin' and all this stuff, it was about sort of live streaming certain games, but just not necessarily playing a game, but doing challenges such as like speed runs. World of Warcraft really took off because in Classic WoW, which has returned, there's sort of a huge segregation where, especially in PvP, where to do certain arenas and things like that, you had to be at a certain level. So you had casual players, and then you had like the hardcore players. Like a casual player couldn't make their way into, you know, the raid Naxxramas and all that stuff. I mean, there was Blizzard said during Classic WoW, only less than 1% of the guilds in the entire world made it to Naxxramas or down the boss. You had to get keyed. There was just this whole headache mess you had to do to get into it. So there's a separation. So if live streamers were able to stream World of Warcraft's like Naxxramas dungeon, it allowed casual players like me to be able to see these things and sort of in-game things. And it was really cool to see like speed runs, even with the old Mario Brothers, how some of these people get through the entire game in like 10 or 12 minutes. But a lot of streamers these days have really been pushing super hard for subs, merch, and follows, and not really ignoring kind of the aspect of Twitch with competitive gaming and challenges of doing certain things such as speed runs, no-hit runs, things like that. The stuff I sort of enjoy watching and cheer on. It just seemed like with some of them, every 5 minutes they were just trying to push for subs or their merch. Even the sub goal thing got kind of annoying. If you see a lot of big streamers out there, even like I say Soda Poppin' or Forcin' or something like that, they don't really have a goal thing in the corner like a handful of certain streamers do. It just got annoying, and it was just like, oh, sub this, sub that, you know, and it was just like they were overdoing it, you know, just pushing too hard, and it just kind of got off-putting after a while. During some point of the stream, like maybe once an hour or once every 2 hours, kind of doing, hey guys, you know, if you're really enjoying this, or we'll continue this game tomorrow, go ahead and give me a subscription. That works fine, but it was just overdoing it, and as a viewer, it was just kind of like, oh god, just another sub farmer, you know. It just, their stream just wasn't entertaining. They weren't doing anything challenging to make me want to sub or follow. It just was just about seeing how many followers and subscriptions you can farm, you know. So that was kind of one of the reasons why it got turned off. The number 4 reason why I stopped watching was essentially like toxic and spammy chat. At the end of this video, I'm going to go over how I found smaller streamers and why I watched a lot of really small ones. But there was a lot of just kind of hateful speech and toxic and spam in chat. You know, especially when you're watching a smaller streamer that has maybe 20 viewers or less, you'll get a lot of people that will stop by and be like, hey, come watch my channel. And they'll just go to their streamers and you know, spam things like that, and that got really annoying. Even though I had Twitch on something as like the background, many occasions when I had a few minutes, I'd participate in chat and things like that. There was a lot of hate speech. You would see some girl trying to play like Dark Souls or something like that, and people would write like, oh, women can't play Dark Souls, or women suck at Dark Souls, or it just always, for some reason, always just had to be negative or hate. Or I would sometimes put on these streams because I was curious, because it is a hard game and we don't see women as big of gamers as we do today, because I was born like in the 80s and in my 30s, and it was primarily men that played video games, but a lot more of the women generation are gaming these days. So there's a lot of women out there playing video games, but a lot of people still kind of leave like negative vibes and negative kind of toxicity in chat that was just really annoying. And it sucked because the streamer or whoever it was, especially when you're small, you don't have mods or anything like that. So some of these streamers would have to like pause the game and take care of the person in chat, and just it sucks because it didn't want me to watch the stream. It was just like, this sucks, and I kind of felt bad for them, but at the same time I didn't want to be around that environment or kind of like see that as I'm trying to work, you know. It had to deal with a lot of the viewers kind of being toxic, and then they'd kind of mess up the mood for the streamer. So the streamer may have been happy-go-lucky, and someone came in their chat and they were trying to be reasonable with them and talk with them and trying to get them, I guess you could say, to calm down. But then it just would get out of hand, and then the streamer would eventually silence them, and then from there on you could tell it kind of bothered them because the stream wasn't the same anymore. Again, this isn't the streamer's fault, but it really should be something Twitch should handle. I don't know if it would be to make better keyword detection or somehow go after these people legally, or I don't know. It's hard because it's the internet, and you know, it's easy for people to hide behind a computer kind of thing. But that was one of the reasons, but one of the few reasons on the bottom. The toxicity wasn't crazy. There was a lot of good things I've seen on Twitch and a lot of positive energy, but for some reason a lot of smaller streamers got hit with just kind of toxic chat from assholes, I guess you could say. Alright, the number 5 reason, this is kind of weird, but it sort of bothered me in a small way, was the reruns. I like the live aspect of Twitch and engaging in the person playing the video game. So I would, you know, say, hey, how's your day going? Or where are you at in this video game? Or hey, did you just buy this? Or how are you enjoying the game? And then getting a response, oh, hey, so-and-so, yeah, I really enjoy this game. I just started 20 minutes ago. Things like that, you know. I talked to a lot of smaller streamers when, what's that game? When Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. I talked to a lot of streamers then, and a lot of small streamers, because all the big ones, they kind of, you know, their chat goes by too fast. I'll get into that in a minute. I like the engagement with Twitch and how it was done, how it's just only live, and being able to interact in the chat and getting response and asking the streamer questions about certain games, or especially if they're doing challenges like speed runs and stuff like that, being able to ask like, oh, what was your last goal, what's your goal this run, things like that. It seemed like in certain categories there were just people just running constant reruns, and it just got kind of annoying. It was so when I would browse Twitch and look for streamers, it was hard to find, you know, ones that were good, that weren't purchasing viewers, then trying to filter out the ones that were running reruns, and just things like that, because as I was going through all these channels, it just felt like nothing was on. Like, oh, I went through 400 streamers and nothing was on. Nothing caught my attention. Things like that. That's just what it felt like going through all these streams. So the reruns thing, other than running it around the clock, because if you know what I'm talking about, there's some streamers that literally stream for a few hours a day and then they run reruns 24 hours. I get it, you know, they're trying to make money, all this stuff, but for whatever reason it got a little bit annoying, and maybe the rerun thing should only be allowed like for that one stream they did that day later on in the day. Other than doing tons of reruns, they can only do one rerun of the stream earlier. I think the rerun aspect of Twitch should be taken care of, or like monitored a little bit better, or being able to like filter it out, which I haven't been on in a little bit, but maybe they changed it since then. So we'll have to see. So I got some good advice for smaller streamers, because actually I didn't watch a lot of the big streamers. I had a few I watched when they were doing certain events, like Soda Poppin was doing that Christmas thing where he was unpacking all the gifts from fans and where people put their money together and all that stuff. I watched that. I watched a couple of tournaments and promo games from big streamers, but I actually watched a lot of smaller streamers that had 50 viewers and under. And here goes an example of how I would watch a smaller streamer, and I'll use Conan Exile and Red Dead Redemption 2 as an example. How I found some. So when a game like Conan Exile comes out, a lot of the big Twitch streamers get a little bit of a kickback to play the game. And I was really interested in the game, but since Bethesda's issue and with Fallout and a few other games, and well, not Bethesda, because Bethesda only had one issue with Fallout, but other games that have tried to do this before where they kind of like falsely advertise it. I don't pre-purchase games. I don't purchase games the day they come out, things like that. I seldomly do that. What I will do is obviously I'll read reviews, I'll watch over the games, I'll watch trailers, things like that. But one of the issues I do when a game gets released is I go to Twitch and I watch live streamers play it. Now all the big boys out there, Soda Poppin, Lyric, Dr. Disrespect, all these people, not only do they get a little bit paid to promote the game, which is completely loud, and they deserve it. They should be allowed to. These are very big audience streamers with, you know, sometimes 50, 60,000 people in chat, and when you type in chat, you just don't get seen everything. I know Twitch recently started banning like emote spam, like where you get the smiley face like 400 times and then someone will put a word in it to try to get it seen. I know Twitch has started like banning that and like filtering it out. But if a game like Conan Exile came out and I'm interested in buying it, but I have a few questions, the big streamers are cool that they're playing it and stuff, but I'll go to a lot of smaller streamers where I can go, hey, how do you like this game? And they'll usually reply and they'll give an honest answer, and I'll be like, have you had any lag issues? Is there any gameplay issues or frame rate drops? Is it easy to play, friendly? Can you play it with a controller? You know, as I'm also watching the gameplay to see how it's played. So I would do that with a lot of streamers because they're able to engage a little bit more because they don't have such a large audience. And also the other thing is though, is they're going to give more of an honest opinion because a smaller streamer isn't getting paid X amount of money to play the game. So a lot of times when a new game came out, I actually would go to multiple smaller streamers. Now, Red Dead Redemption came out, and this is a real interesting thing, is a girl named Kiwo. She constantly now has like 1,000 to 2,000 viewers, and she's doing Grand Theft Auto 5. But at the time she was streaming, she had a consistency of about 300. Sometimes her numbers would go as low as like 200. And when Red Dead Redemption came out, I got home from work. I put on Twitch and I knew the game had got released, but I was looking for a streamer just starting the game, and it didn't matter if they're male or female, if they were big or small. I was just looking for someone that was good and just starting the game, and Kiwo just happened to be a streamer that was just starting the game. The opening credits were happening, things like that, and I kicked on her stream, and that's how I discovered her, ended up following her, and then about day 2 I ended up subscribing to her just for some of the extra benefits she has and all that stuff. But Kiwo never shows her face. She was raised in 2 parts of England, so she has this interesting British accent that is kind of blended a little bit, I guess you would say. And she just has a really good mic, a really good like sweet voice, and is just a really good streamer because when she played Red Dead, she would let the dialogue go and then she role-played the rest of it between them talking. So she just had really good commentary. She almost answered any question you asked, all this stuff. She streamed the game for about 7 or 8 days straight, about 4 or 5 hours a day. She would open her stream up and just talk for a little bit, then get into the game. I caught it early on, and when you get the thumbnails, when you're streaming on Twitch, you don't get to control your thumbnails. So how I found her was literally just connected at the right place at the right time. When I logged in, the opening credits were happening is what I saw in the thumbnail. Didn't know who the streamer was, clicked on it, and she was just starting the game as I was just sitting down to find someone to watch with it. So as a viewer and a subscriber, that's how I essentially found someone. There was no time thing, there was no like, start the game exactly at 7:30, this is when the most people log in, or it could have been, you know, 8:12 or something like that. There was no, you know, set time or anything like that. It just, we happened to connect at the same time. So she streamed it for about 7 days. She's really good at commentary. She really likes role playing, so she was doing this like voice thing with Arthur and stuff like that, and messing around. And on top of that, she's engaging with the audience. You know, she chats and all that stuff. So that was how I went from watching one day, and then I followed her because she was going to be on the next day, and I followed her because I want to continue watching. Then by day 3, I had used my free subscription, my Twitch Prime free subscription on her, just to kind of get the badge and ask a few questions and things like that. Because by the time she got to day 6 and 7, her streams started to pick up a bit, so she was getting like 1,000 consistent viewers. A lot of people tuned in when she was doing Red Dead, but she started the stream when the game started with only like 150 or 200 viewers at the time. That's what I had noticed. It's still a really great stream, and I know a lot of other people were playing it, but I just started following her and wanted to follow her progression. So when she was done streaming, I was like, well, I want to see where her character goes next. I could find someone else, but I may have already seen that part, or they may be further ahead in the story. So I pretty much just followed her whole Red Dead Redemption story all the way through. And that's how I essentially discover streamers and smaller streamers. I wasn't, you know, I know some of the bigger ones were playing it, and a lot of them just want to get through it and all that stuff. She really kind of played the game as it should be and took her time. The other thing was also maybe the time zone, because I was watching it late in the evening, and so she's just waking up in England, because I'm in the west coast of California in the Los Angeles area, and she's in the UK. So there's like a 8 to 9 hour time difference depending on daylight savings. So just as it was just morning for her, just as I was trying to lay down. A lot of these people that say how to get viewers and give hints on getting viewers and things like that, it all really depends, because in a situation like that, and like I said, I'm just kind of ranting about this for the smaller streamers, it literally just had to do with the right place, right time. I just got home, was looking for someone starting the game, and I found someone. You know, you can't control your thumbnails or anything like that. And also I was looking for someone with good commentary. I think if someone else did it and they were like talking over the chat, or they were making jokes that I thought were lame, like not really funny, like they're, oh, you know, let's get these redneck group going, and they're trying to do dialogue in the game, because I kind of wanted to see the game dialogue as well, you know. So that was essentially how I discovered and why I watch smaller streamers. I watch them all the time, you know, on various games. But yeah, that's my 5 reasons why I slowed down. I still watch them. There was a new game that just recently came out I was curious about. Okay, there was a new game that recently came out called Greedfall, and it has some positive reviews on it, and it just came out, and it's my genre of games. It's the type of games I like to play. I like those open world games and quest, and I like building and stuff like that. That's why I said, you know, the same thing with Conan Exile that I did buy. But there was a game recently called Greedfall that came out, and I've been watching Twitch a little bit more, because I haven't bought it yet, on streamers that are playing it. And once again, I'm not targeting the big streamers, I'm targeting a lot of the small ones, because I want to ask some questions and see how their gameplay is and stuff like that. So watching a big streamer and asking how they're enjoying it or how they like it, or just asking questions like, is farming for weapons or materials easy or hard, their screen goes by so fast, it's just going to pass. And even if they do, they're going to probably say something because the gaming company that created it, they want to be good with, you know, so they get paid more to do more games, things like that. So, but a smaller streamer, I'd be like, hey, is farming materials for this game to make potions or to make whatever, is it annoying or complicated? And they're going to give me an answer right away, and it's going to be honest. So right now, yeah, I'm watching Greedfall on Twitch and just kind of associating with smaller streamers, and that's what I feel Twitch was for, and that's how I discover streamers and how I end up following and subscribing. So a lot of you smaller streamers, from someone that's a viewer that was watching, you know, 60 hours a week, that's essentially how I would find them and stuff like that. But anyways, I hope this is useful coming from a viewer, you know, to see how things go and how I'd find streamers and things like that. I think a lot of the baloney out there that's being taught, like only stream at night, that's where you get the viewers, only play the latest games and try to do this and try to do that, I think is a little bit BS. Maybe it works to some extent, but I think just being good at commentating and being a good gamer and being interactive with the audience is just as important. Like I said, when I would even watch the 8 hours a night or something like that, when I couldn't sleep and I'd have it on in the evening, you know, I'd be engaging. I'd watch the smaller streamers to be engaging. I wasn't always just watching a big streamer. My light went out. But anyways, I hope that's helpful, and thanks again for watching, and hopefully wish you guys the best on streaming, and hopefully everything works out. Have a good day. Later.